All right, welcome back. Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott says he will begin trying to remove Democratic lawmakers from office Monday in the state if they don't return after dozens of them left the state in a last resort attempt to block redrawn U.S. House maps that President Donald Trump wants before the 2026 midterm elections. Talk about throwing your toys out of the pram. Boy, oh boy. This is something that anybody from Illinois has been dealing with for decades. It's pretty much par for the course. You know, the old victor goes the spoils. The revolt by the state House Democrats, many of whom went to Illinois or New York on Sunday, and Abbott giving them less than 24 hours to come home, ratcheted up a widening fight over congressional maps that began in Texas, but has drawn in Democratic governors who have floated the possibility of rushing to redraw their own state's maps in retaliation. Their options, however, are limited, and I feel like saying what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? But it seems as though that when the Republicans employ the same tactics that the Dems have done for years, they resort to childlike behavior and feign outrage. Now, my next guest will probably have an opinion on this. I'm sure she does. Please welcome to the show Ms. Rebecca Walser, Walser Wealth Management down in Tampa, Florida. Thank you very much. I know you're busy for taking the time. All right. What are your thoughts on this gerrymandering?
Well, I think that we've gone down this road before, Scott. So this is nothing that we haven't seen before. But really, the court in a 6-3 majority opinion last May of 2024, had a Texas case, or no, was it Texas? No, South Carolina. There's so many. South Carolina case where the district court found that they had impermissibly redistricted for gerrymandering purposes, and the Supreme Court actually ruled no, that they did not find that the purpose was gerrymandering, that it was political purposes only. So they kind of sent a message that, hey, you might not be able to bring us redistricting case based on racism anymore, gerrymandering. And so, yeah, that was really interesting. That was May of last year. But what's really more interesting, Scott, is that they just this past Friday, August 1st, took up a Louisiana case where they asked for more briefs. And in that same case, you had a district court saying that they actually created a second majority district in Louisiana to be a minority district. And in that case, you had people suing under the Voting Rights Act saying that it's being impermissibly used. The Constitution is being used, Voting Rights Act is being used to actually create a minority district out of what would otherwise not be. And so that case could go in the other direction, saying that you're not allowed to actually intentionally, because that was done by Louisiana to deal with a Voting Rights Act violation they had found to have found. This is very technical, very legal, Scott, so I'm glad you have a lawyer talking about it. But the point I'm trying to make is that the Supreme Court has already, as of May of last year, shied away from redistricting based on gerrymandering purposes. And now, on top of that, this Louisiana case is the exact opposite. They intentionally created a minority district, and they are being sued, saying that that is a violation of the Constitution, that you can't intentionally create a minority district. So depending on how that case comes out, we could see gerrymandering and the Voting Rights Act be completely decimated altogether. And I'm not suggesting that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying, in this case in Texas, where the Democrats have fled to New York and other states to not be present, come on, the Supreme Court isn't even with you anymore. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's a long way to say what I felt my entire life, coming from Chicago and seeing what the Democrats have done to that state and that city for the last 70 some odd years. This happens all the time, and because you're in the minority, the Democrats run everything. You just have to shrug your shoulders and say, oh, well, we didn't get the chance to fly off and move to some of their states. So I see this as where they're really throwing out throwing the toys out of the pram, and it's some sort of, I don't even know what they're getting at. But then, what does this Abbott have standing to get rid of these folks?
I mean, it's a very interesting constitutional question. Every state has their own state constitution, so it really have to depend on the governor's powers and authority. If he can declare some kind of emergency and make sure that congressional members have to be represented because of a state of emergency, I'm not sure the authority and the power that he has as a governor under the Texas Constitution. But it is very interesting that he could be threatening like a call to order, a roll call, if you will, and if you're not there, you're replaced. So I don't know what extra powers he has in Texas. Texas, but that would be interesting. A lot of governors have emergency powers, and so I'm not sure exactly what he's doing to say, hey, if you don't get back here, we're gonna cut you from Congress.
Right,
It's a little bit extreme.
And they always told us, one of the ways you make this stop in Illinois, they always told us, was run for office and get elected and see, and then if you get elected, you can change the rules for yourselves just like we did.
Exactly. I mean, there's a very big judicial doctrine in America. It's called the political question doctrine. And there's a lot of times that the Supreme Court intentionally will not decide things that can be decided by the voter at the actual ballot box. They will try to defer to the voter. Now, if it's a question where the voter is not getting access to the ballot box, obviously they have to step in. But I mean, usually the political question doctrine likes to abscond from making decisions that can be decided by a voter.
All right. So in your opinion, tempest in a teacup, or is there something here?
I mean, no, I think that the Democrats are absolutely, based on the swing of the Supreme Court under this Trump, the way he basically, he got 3 appointees on that Supreme Court. That was unheard of. We'll probably get one more during this term, at least, I would think. But the bottom line is the way the court has swung, they are absolutely not right now in the appetite of using the Voting Rights Act to support gerrymandering. They're actually going the opposite direction.
And then my last question before you go, and this is because I don't even know, I have no idea, but why, I guess because Illinois is the Democrat and so is New York, but why are they fleeing to Illinois and New York? I mean, what's going to happen there why don't they just go to California, go someplace nice?
I don't understand. There's the NGOs and the money that runs through government, private organizations to redistrict and to do all of these things that, really on its face are pretty nefarious. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. They're having a powwow up there.
So the NGOs had air miles that only could go to Illinois and New York. They said.
Probably. I don't know.
All right. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Always great to have you on. Rebecca Walser, Walser Wealth Management in Tampa, Florida. All right.